I'm at the age now where I can look back and see that my life is kind of like a mosaic or a jigsaw puzzle, and all the pieces are going in there, and they're starting to make sense. And I can see that there's a very linear journey, and that this is where I was meant to be. Starting from the very beginning, I've always made things with form, shape, colour. I'm slightly dyslexic, and English I'm not so articulate with. I'm more articulate with my hands. My first language is really form, shape, colour and placement. So at the age of 3, I spent a year in a closed room with a lung condition and vapours burning. And my companion was plasticine. And I think that's where I became dexterous and fascinated with form, and that became the language. So for the last 20 years, I've been a professional sculptor.
Wall of Tara's mantra, Om Tari Tutari Turi Soha.
I became involved in building the Green Tara when asked by Dennis Kenny, who was a resident monk here at the Tisha Centre for Buddhist Studies, and Ruby Kamei, who was the director of program, and they asked me, yes. And I was overwhelmed because I too was a very early student of Lama Yeshe, and this was a wonderful opportunity for me to show my gratitude for the teachings and for his kindness.
I went to her these aren't the shoulders, but this is the width below, because it's quite generous.
Tara, she took the historic
woman, when she took her bodhisattva vows, she took the extra vow to remain as a woman. Whereas in the Buddhist tradition, this is going like other planets, it was usually one would take a male aspect in one's successive rebirths on the path to enlightenment and achieve enlightenment in the aspect of a male. But she said, no, there are so few Buddhas in female aspect that I vow to always work for others in a female aspect.
Yeah.
Oh, how's she measuring? Because we won't alter it.
Yeah, she's a bit big.
She's a bit big. Oh no.
No, it's only a bit.
What's
It's
wrong?
okay.
I think the head's a bit big. Huh?
Should be bigger.
You like the head's bigger?
No, the whole thing.
Oh, she's going to shrink at 12.
Yeah.
And then just above the chin, because the chin's usually a bit round. Yeah.
Right.
So that's another 4.
Full. Oh, to the nose. Yeah. Yep.
From the nose
To the brow.
Yeah.
Yep. And then 4. Okay. And how much too big is she? This could be an extreme makeover.
The whole proportion of the images of Buddha images and stupas and any Buddhist icon is they are made initially to benefit the eye consciousness, because that's how we perceive them. And as they symbolize the perfection of the mind in the form of enlightenment, then in the very profound knowledge that exists in tantric practice, the exact proportions have been explained and written out and are followed in the construction of statues, so that whoever sees an image of Buddha, no matter whether they're angry or not angry, or whether they're an animal or an insect, there's a beneficial effect upon the mind, directly resulting from the pure, perfect proportion of the image.
One look, no. They look really big as a bowl, didn't they? Cut them in half and you get a different size.
Iconography, the measurements are very specific, because that's proportions were taken of Buddha, and other deities, especially the Buddha around the time of his existence. So these measurements are to be an accurate portrayal of the Buddha, so that that whoever makes the image gets it very precise. They follow these measurements, and so for 2,500 years, these measurements have been passed down from artist to artist in an unbroken lineage.
We put glad wrap over her, a thin layer of glad wrap, then the layer of clay, and then on top of that the plaster mould will be built, and it has to be able to come off. There can't be any undercuts. You have to be able to just be pulled off without tearing anywhere, and that will be done in sections, so there will be like a jigsaw puzzle. I don't know how many parts, and then each section that comes off, they'll take out the layer of clay that's in there and the glad wrap, and then the silicon rubber will be poured into that area, and that then goes directly onto the face of the sculpture.
At times, was very satisfied with what I'd made, but I'd go to bed and in my night dreams, Tara would appear and kind of say, no, that's not how I'm going to, accept the image. And I just kept remaking, and it was a ground that I'd not trodden before. So I also was frightened at many times that I might make a mistake, because I was very aware of the requirements of measurement and exactness, and I wanted it to be perfect because it was a tribute. This is just to make the face stick a bit better. All of these are measurements that have to be abided by and then multiply by 1.375. Going further, this is meant to go to here. Yeah. So one of these holes works. I sectioned off part of my studio in dedication for Tara and had a revolving wheel, thinking that I could turn her and work at leisure. And that wheel was 50 centimetres out from the wall. And on the day that we started, many prayers were said and people were invited to come along and place a slab of clay embedded with their wishes and personal objects into the base, which was going to be the base for Tara to be built on. And it was a beautiful day, and a rainbow appeared outside, which was wonderful, and that's very symbolic. And when people had left, I was so wound up and enlivened by the whole activity that I went into a frenzy and started building like crazy. And pounds of clay went on. And then I went to rotate the wheel, and there was no way it was going to move. That was it. It was already too late to move her, and that's where she remained. And that presented a lot of problems, 50 centimetres away from the wall. I'm reasonably agile, but virtually had to do the splits to get in there and work behind her. And at times she was so close that I couldn't focus correctly. So yes, there were physical strains that were incurred, yeah.
Make the legs stick on. Make it safe. My bruises. This is the cupping, so that I can keep on working. Have you seen the hand underneath? It's on the skeleton.
Ah, it's a skeleton. Oh, okay.
I can probably still use that base, but there's the armature underneath. We need to get that gesture right. Just lost the power in my legs. You want to see? I think that I might just have to fall out of here. I don't think I can stand up.
So how many times you're in this position?
I find that I can really only stay here for about maybe 15 minutes, but 15 minutes doesn't really give you enough time to complete a lot. So I might just fall out of here. Excuse me. I don't really like breaking the lines of the legs up too much. I quite like where the fabric ends.
very
Yeah.
unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll just put a pole there.
Well, he's got like a little squiggle.
I can do a squiggle. What about there?
When you're making a commission of somebody else, like a person, famous person, I read the photographs and you can generally get a really good idea of the nature of that person. And you implant that essence into the work. And so far as the image goes, then you make it like a caricature and then pull it back into a human shape. Now with Tara, she represents so much that to make it really clean-lined and simple like I wanted her to be very sophisticated, like I think the teachings are. They're really easy and they fall gently on your mind, but there is enormous depth behind them. And once you start looking at the Dharma, it opens up to me further and further with more and more expansive knowledge.
And the top lips can open up a bit more if you want it as well. It's a different, it gives it more of an antique feel, doesn't it? Yeah. I'll have to do that a bit more when I can read it. It's too hard to see. So night time when the shadows are stronger. And I'll make this gap in here less broad, tighten it up, which will make it even sweeter again, yeah? Oh, wow. Wow, gee, it looks pretty good. You happy with it, Bill?
It's
Isn't
actually
it?
good.
There's no way you're putting it back on.
No.
It's a rubber all in one.
One piece, yeah.
Yep.
Just so we minimise the number
Of joins, yeah. Excellent.
Tara can manifest in many aspects, white, red, green, blue, black. And all of these different aspects represent specific qualities of the enlightened mind and specific activities of the enlightened mind. Tara in her green aspect is, it is certainly one of the most popular practices in Tibet. And Lama Tupten Yeshe, who was my first teacher and one of the first lamas to bring Tibetan Buddhism definitely to Australia and to the West, Tara was one of his favourite practices, and so he gave to us, his students, the transmission, the initiation into the Tara practice very early on, before we understood very much at all about tantric practice. And so I think this is why we have had this, this statue built in memory of Lama Yeshe. And certainly in my mind, I see Lama Yeshe as an emanation of Tara.
So all the little pieces, the adornments, have gone to the foundry now. They've been made into a plastic so that they won't be too heavy for her. And in Kopan in Nepal, the mantras are being rolled to go in the interior of her. The branch, which represents the central channel, has come down from Queensland, and the monks up in Bendigo are preparing to fill her with what I should know a little bit more about than I do, but with all the auspicious symbols and objects and mantras and all of that inside. It's just grabbing the paint. It looks like it's going to take probably about maybe 6 layers, five, 6 layers to coat properly. I took time off to make money and do the commissions, which provide my living. So this is now, I think, the 5th year that Tara has been in progress, and now we're on the home run, and there's a deadline, and I'm working day and night in order to get there. And the deadline is 5 weeks, 5-6 weeks.
And what happens at the end of the 5 or 6 weeks? What's the next sort of...
She will be taken to the Atisha Centre in Bendigo, the monastery. A hole has been cut inside to fill Tara with, what I was saying before, and hopefully in time for consecration by Lama Zopa, who was coming here, who was the first Lama I met along with Lama Yeshe. Lama Yeshe was his heart disciple. I'm dyslexic and I get things mixed up, and we just drove here with Tara in the back of the car, like programmed, just arrived without any problem at all. And generally I will end up in almost another state. I go to many districts on the way. And it was beautiful delivering Tara, because waiting outside, I'd phoned ahead, and she was well cushioned up in the back, and Gyatso and the other monks were standing there with incense in hand and their bowed heads.
Perfect. Very good. Perfect. Yeah. Gorgeous, yeah. Yes. I don't know what's meaning.
The consecration of an image of the Buddha is a very important aspect of the whole practice. And what we do, again, it is to remove the concept of it being a piece of metal or fiberglass or whatever, but as a living embodiment of enlightenment. So there are many different powerful mantras which are rolled up in tight bundles, and they are, first the interior is cleaned and painted with a mixture of sweet-smelling perfumes and various substances, saffron and so on. And then these mantras are rolled in bundles and wrapped in cloth, and then placed at very specific levels inside the body. And we mentioned before the chakras and channels and so on. So there are certain locations, and so then every space is filled up. Where you can't put mantras or other small images of Buddhas and so on, you put very sweet-smelling incense.
Stop that slide.
You happy with that? Yeah? Something like that?
Whatever you like.
Okay, I
Perhaps
like
a
that
touch
shape.
more than that.
Yeah, a bit more, a bit fatter.
There's a whole spectrum of symbolic things for food, like to overcome hunger, and I mentioned the wealth. And so these are all blessed beforehand at a special tantric ceremony, and they're placed with much reverence inside, and then the whole statue is sealed. And this adds, although we can't see these objects, they add a very sort of powerful completion to the entire image.
Buddha.